Hey, it's Ron McLean. Welcome to Hockey Talk on the Rock.
With Laura and Keith.
It's interesting.
So let's back up a second.
He played absolutely out of his mind.
It made no sense to me.
And now, here are your hosts.
Yeah, here we go. We are here doing episode number 53 of Hockey Talk on the Rock. This is Laura and I'm Keith, and we have for our first time ever special guest from Kempner Sports, who we can find on YouTube, Trevor Kempner. So thank you for joining us to talk some hockey tonight there, Trevor.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm pumped. I've watched your guys' stuff all the time, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome, and it's good that we got some Canuck stuff. As we can all see, we're all donning our Canucks attire, excited that the news has finally come. So I'll throw to Laura here. What do you got for us, Canuck stuff?
Well, the big news is that both Pettersson and Hughes have signed their new deals, so they are back at camp, and both of them signed what I think are very good deals for the Canucks, so that makes me more excited about it. So they locked up Hughes long term at just under $8 million, which I think, again, for defensemen with the way things were going this summer is really good. I know there is some kind of fear, or like, I don't know what else to say, in the fan base that after the 6 years he's going to go to New Jersey to play with his brother. But honestly, it's 6 years. You've wrapped him up for the majority of his 20s. I think they did pretty good, all things considered. And then Petey gets the bridge deal at 3 years at 7.35, which again, I think is really fair. And in 3 years, Canucks will have quite a lot more cap space because Myers is coming off the books, Pearson's coming off the books, and I think there's one other one. So all in all, really happy about that. And yeah, I think they did a good job. Good job, Jim Benning. I know we all, like, I'm bad, I dump on him a lot, but I do think he's done a pretty good job with all his RFA signings, so I do want to give him some props.
Trevor, I'm going to steal one from Laura here and saying that, do you agree or disagree that Jim Benning could go down potentially as the best GM at signing RFAs, but the worst GM at signing UFAs?
Wow, that's good. I think the jury's still out, to be honest with you. I've been a big Benning supporter over the years, but after 7 years, we have to be honest that he's been pretty horrific when it comes to signing players. A great drafter. But yeah, that's a good question, Keith. I don't even know the answer to that, because at the end of the day, it's been bad. And so I do think this has been his best summer by far, and it's not even close. So it's been super encouraging, and you can tell that they're wanting to win, they're wanting to compete. And I don't know if it's because he's feeling the pressure he needs to keep his job, but he's had his job for a long time, and if there wasn't changes, I do think that there would have been a change. But yeah, so it's been many years of horrific signings. So let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I just want to agree with you there, Laura. I think the deals are great, especially when you look at some comparables around the league. Like, everyone wanted Pettersson to do the Barzal deal, and it's been a year. It's good that they got, I think, close to that. And then the Hughes deal, considering what we saw Heiskanen and Makar signing for earlier this year, I thought it was going to be quite a bit more than this. So I think that was actually pretty surprising as well, and pretty good for them. And I've been listening to the radio. I haven't actually watched very much of the preseason, but they've got Alex Chase on a PTO. I think he's kind of an intriguing candidate as, like, maybe a power play kind of fourth liner, especially with some injuries. I was going to ask you guys what you thought of Chase and who's going to fill the roles of Sutter and Mott since they're hurt, and maybe he'll be one of them.
Yeah, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind if they signed Chase on again, depending on to what the money is. I assume it's just going to be for a year, and it would probably be like $1 million kind of thing, which I wouldn't mind. And as you say, he can play power play minutes. honestly, the player I feel like of kind of the borderline NHLers that has stood out the most to me during the preseason so far has been Nick Patan. And I wonder if maybe he gets a chance at fourth line center while Sutter's out. But again, there is those two spots, right? Sutter and Mott. So there's something there. I know like Podkolzin has been pretty kind of, I'll say unnoticeable in the first few games. So I don't know how secure his position is either, which is an interesting one because I know everyone has him kind of penciled in at least in the top 9, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of traumatized from how many times we've decided to have fourth line players be on our second line. And so Chason, I think I think this is the first year we actually have skilled players on our second and third line. And so it is exciting. I'm with you, right? That 100%. Patan is a stud in the way of preseason.
Yeah.
When I was watching, I noticed him right away. I'm like, whoa, who's this guy? You know what I mean? And so I'm with you. I'm not sold. I mean, probably Chason jumps in, but it doesn't excite me at all. Like, I mean, you stunk in Edmonton. I don't know where you've been since, and now you're in Vancouver. So, sorry, this is not negative Nelly here, but I'm just talking like this is years of. So, I think you have to look at a Chason in this spot because of those injuries. And the good news is Chason has the experience. So I would rather have a guy with experience like that and run with some of those guys. Because we don't have a lot of depth, and I mean Highmore's good, but I don't think he can fill that center position, right?
No.
So
yeah, I mean I agree with what both of you said. Laura and I have talked several times already about like how excited we are for the depth of the top 9 for the first time in like a long time. So it's nice to have to kind of like, oh no, who's going to fill these roles on the fourth line for the first time in a while. And I agree with you with the depth thing because like they don't have that experience depth like you say with Chason, but it does feel like they have a lot of depth for like, you know, desperation times, you know, in the Giuseppes and the Dowlings and stuff like that. Like the guys that, you know, sound like they're doing good in the preseason, probably good AHL players, but like not quite the guys that you really want filling those roles.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I think right now the other interesting question, right, is like everything that's going on with Hamonic, which we don't know what it is, but like what they're gonna do on that right side defense, because I don't know, right? Like, is Shen a regular NHL player at this point in his career?
Please God, no.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did want to bring up the Hamonic thing, and I'm super happy that he did not opt out. Like, I think he's fairly underrated in the role he plays.
Yeah.
But in that being said, like again, I haven't watched a lot of the preseason, and Trevor, it sounds like you have, and it sounds like Brad Hunt has sounded maybe like a better option instead of Luke Shen.
Mm-hmm. But why aren't we going after? Is it Vatanen?
In Anaheim?
Like, why aren't we going after that guy? Isn't he a UFA right now or something like that? Like I don't know. When you think of Shen, you think of 6th, 7th defenseman. You don't think you're going to be top 4, hoping that you're going to play well. I think there's another solution out there. So maybe Hunt is the guy. I honestly don't know. Again, don't know much about this guy, and so I'm all for giving people opportunities. But this is the year we want to like actually make the playoffs and look like we did against Vegas. And I think we have the potential. So is it that we're so strapped to the cap now that we can't look at those opportunities? I'm not sure. I know it's hard to trade right now, and every team's up against the cap, it sounds like, and seems like. So,
yeah.
So I don't know. Does that sound like a potential guy who could come in, or is he on a roster that I haven't heard if he'd signed or not? So
as far as I know, you're right. He's out there, and I'll throw to Laura after my quick little bit here. But like, I think the thing with him is he's been really injury prone since he's been taking 1-year deals. And that might be the worry about him. But there was one more name that I agree there might be other options out there. And I read that Jason Demers is still out there as well. And he's a right D. And I think that would be kind of ironic and funny in a little bit of a way, since he was like, he nixed a trade to Vancouver a few years ago, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you don't have a job, beggars can't be choosers, right?
Exactly.
It's
That's
like,
why a funny
eat some
irony.
crow, buddy, and sign a contract. Play with some good players.
So, like, I mean, if they picked him up, he's kind of like one of those stay-at-home, slower defense, but I think he would be a better option than maybe a Shen or a Hunt too at this point.
Yeah, the other thing too, I wonder is if maybe they know more, like they must know more about the Hamonic situation, right? And if they're not doing anything, maybe it's because they know he's only going to be gone for a couple weeks or something. But the uncertainty of it is what freaks me out.
Yeah.
That's a good point, especially when you know how badly like they have to start the season on the right foot here too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Shen's terrific. I just think that like it just feels like his best years are behind him. But maybe he comes out and surprises us and plays solid. I actually am not a huge Hamonic fan. I don't think he's like God's gift to hockey, or the right side of the defense. So it's not like, now if we're comparing Hamonic to Shen, there should be quite a significant drop off, right? But maybe there isn't. Maybe Shen is just below or just as good and way cheaper. I don't know. Like, I think it remains to be seen. It's just that it doesn't bode a lot of confidence for us, right?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I am a bit traumatized about the way last year started, right? Specifically defensively, but maybe because they have this training camp, they have preseason games this year, it's gonna probably be a lot better. Hopefully. I mean, it can't be worse. Let's put it honestly. Last year, the start was awful.
Right.
So,
well,
yeah.
The start and the finish were horrific, right?
Yeah.
COVID didn't help us, but
I would love to see Shen fill that role. Believe me, you see it right here.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to see Luke Shen do well, it's this guy right here. So
yeah.
I
and look at the highlights when he played for Philly, right? He was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has played with Hughes before, and they did show some sort of chemistry, but I just feel like even when they brought him back, I was like, my worry is he's going to go from this kind of folk hero status in Vancouver to being like, the whipping boy, which I could see happening. But anyway,
we just need someone with defensive capabilities on that side, because in my opinion, Quinn Hughes is a super stud. He's top 5 offensively. We just need to get that guy the puck in his hands and let him work his magic. He's unbelievable. And so if we can and I think that's why Hamonic works. That's why Tanev was so amazing with him, is that's what we need.
Yeah.
If Tanev wasn't made out of glass, he probably would have stayed.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if this is too much for your audience about like, I'm telling like the real opinion of what I think here. Is that's okay? Yes.
That's okay. That's all we would expect. And what audience, by the way?
I'm one of them.
There's a few.
So besides the Canuck stuff, I really didn't have a whole lot of news for tonight. I mean, if you guys wanted to throw any opinions on like the Robin Lehner news, that was kind of a thing that's happened in the league, but otherwise I didn't have much thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the big story that's come out this week, and I honestly quite like it because I like when people are outspoken and show personality, especially in hockey, because I feel like it's so frowned upon that it's kind of exciting. And I mean, he went off, right? Like, he just let it all out there, and he obviously does have some experiences, specifically, right? Because it started with the Jack Eichel situation in Buffalo, and it's tied together because he did have experience with that organization. In his mind, they messed up his ankle in recovery, and maybe he is the right person to talk about what Eichel is going through. But yeah, I didn't mind it personally that he went off, but I can see people not liking it.
Yeah, and I like like what you said about the personalities. Like, there's a lot of lame personalities in hockey. My favorite guys in hockey have been Don Cherry. Brian Burke is one of my favorite of all time. I wish we never got rid of him in Vancouver. I loved it when he told, was it, no, what's his name? Glass? No, what's his name? Anyways, he said, Trent Clapp.
Yeah.
I'll drive you to the airport if you can get a better deal. And like, that kind of stuff needs to, like, we need some excitement. You know, him going to Pittsburgh, I mean, that's great for Pittsburgh and everything, even though they're going to be terrible this year. They're not even going to make the playoffs. But Brian Burke brings some charisma that I think we need. Don Cherry, that we need some spice. So some of that stuff, like, I'm not a huge Tortorella fan, but boy, does he bring some excitement. And you know, some of the dumb questions he gets asked, like, I would probably respond the same way over and over and over. You know what I mean? But I just think that that's some of the things that we're missing. And some of this controversy doesn't hurt. Sometimes bad press is good press, unfortunately. And I don't know, it gives us something great to talk about, like in the preseason, you know. But
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you guys said. I like it too. I like the personalities. I like that someone's willing to kind of even put their neck out there, use their platform as a you know, well-paid goalie. So it's good. It's good to see that. Before we really wrap things up, I want to throw some stuff at you guys. Again, like I said, I want to keep you on your toes. So I don't have a pen. I'll remember stuff. I have a good memory. I'm recording this. I wanted to see what you guys wanted to think on the spot of who you think will be in the Stanley Cup final next year from the Eastern and Western conferences, as kind of like a little preseason prediction. And then I wanted to get one sleeper team off you guys that, like, maybe not everyone's talking about, but you could see maybe pulling off the cup this year.
Okay. I gotta think.
wow, like, thanks for putting us on the spot here, man. This is great.
No big deal.
Way too early preseason predictions, right? Is that what we're doing here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here in this bad boy. So I don't know if you want to start. Should we just start with the Western Conference, the Eastern Conference, Laura? What do you think?
Let's start with the West.
Okay.
Which
I'll tell you who's not going to be in the Cup finals. Calgary Flames. They suck. Sorry, did I say it out loud? Yeah, that's tough one. I mean, I think that the got to be, for me, it would be the Avalanche. This has got to be their year. They've got to be able to do it. I mean, if they don't, like, who else? That side is.
It's pretty.
There's a lot of weak teams in the West, if we're honest, right? I mean, someone's going to come out and surprise us. I like the Wild a lot.
I was gonna say that's my gut, and yeah.
But you know, I could see the Oilers playing the Avalanche. I could see maybe Golden Knights. I could see a fluke out in Vancouver, maybe there. But I think the Wild are stacked. Can two Central teams make the final of the West? I don't think they can, right? So I've got to pick one from the Pacific and Central.
If one's a wild card and plays in the Pacific Division, it can.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's not going to happen. Okay, I'm going Avalanche, Oilers. Oh, I hate saying that. I just think Mike Smith is going to play good again this season, so that's where I'm going. What about you, Laura?
I think I'm going Minnesota, and I'm going Homers, and I'm going Canucks.
Let's go. Let's go.
I don't know. I don't trust Edmonton. I don't trust Vegas. So we're gonna say that. And actually, Colorado, I feel like that is the smart pick, but there's something about that team that I also just don't totally buy into, and I don't know what it is. But yeah. So I'll say Minnesota makes it to the final, though.
Oh wow, okay.
Wow. I'll stick with Avalanche on that one. So
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Avalanche, and I'm going to go with the wild card route and say that Winnipeg goes on a surprise run this year.
Okay, I could say that.
Like what they added to the defense, and Pellebuck has a good year. I think they've got the depth up front. I think they could surprise a few people this year. So I'm going to say Colorado and Winnipeg, but I think Colorado would go to the final.
Okay.
So Eastern Conference. Okay, you guys gonna hate me on this one. But I'm gonna go. This. I think the Hurricanes are gonna make the Eastern Conference Finals. So that's not a stretch, I don't think, in most people's minds. I think the Islanders are really good as well, but I'm going to go with the Hurricanes. I love Freddie Anderson going there. But I think it's got to be the Lightning, right? Like, if everyone's just going to go, like, okay, if you said gun to my head, I'm picking the Lightning again to three-peat, okay? But because I don't want to see a three-peat, and I just, we got to say something different other than what everyone's going to say. I'm going the Leafs are going to make it to the final, to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think it's their time. In my opinion, they remind me of the Washington Capitals when they couldn't get over the hump with the Penguins. They're super stacked and talented. The only thing is the goaltending situation. I am nervous about it because I do like Freddie and he's gone. But so who is the starter? I'm thinking it's Jack Campbell, but so I think that's a bold statement. Like, when's the last time they were like good in the playoffs, right? So give me the Hurricanes, give me the Leafs to upset the Lightning somehow. In fact, hey, a side note, the Leafs actually play the Lightning really well.
That's true.
And my friend, who's a huge diehard Leafs fan, wanted to play the Lightning last year in the playoffs, but the Leafs just can't seem to do it. This is their year.
Okay.
What?
It's tough too because my gut is like, okay, Islanders, Tampa, right? But I feel like that's too lame, so I'm gonna go off the board too. But I don't think I can take Toronto, but I'll be kind of lame, but not as lame. I'll say Islanders and Florida.
Saw that coming from a mile away.
I know.
Really?
It's because he knows who I picked in fantasy, so.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, Trevor already took the wind out of my sails here with talking three-peat, because I was definitely going to take Tampa, and I was going to say I'm just going to pick them straight out to win the cup and be the three-peat team.
It's good.
But I think I'm gonna give it to my boys Philly. I'm gonna say that Hart turns it around and the defensive upgrades pay off, despite the high prices they paid, and they will vanquish the Islanders somehow. I don't know. I'm going for it.
Okay.
Wow. I mean, I thought the Leafs pick was bold. So
I'm going for it. I'm being a homer.
Okay, so then out of your four teams, then who are you picking to win? So you're gonna say who are you saying to win then?
I got Tampa. I'm the three-peat all the way.
Right, but I'm thinking you, Laura. What do you think?
Okay, can I pick Tampa to win the cup even though I didn't pick the conference?
No, you can't. This is the way too early predictions. There's no way. Like, this is like ridiculous. Like, there's no way. Okay, you and I are like risking it for the biscuit, and Keith's playing it safe.
Okay.
You know?
I'll say the Islanders, which is not really that big of a risk given how well they've played over the last few years in the playoffs. But yeah.
I'll go officially, like, final answer. I'll go someone else, but I'll pick the Leafs until you got to do final answer, and then I'm going to Avalanche.
Okay.
So.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have other things to talk about, Keith, but do you guys want to? Have you guys dived into Canucks lines yet this year?
The lines for the forwards and all that.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit, but not since they've been in preseason or anything.
Right. Well, I mean, it's been hard to do with Hughes and Pettersson not there, right?
Yeah. So
I got some strong convictions on this. It might be entertaining worth. So
okay.
Can you just give me a minute here? Okay.
Sure,
so I'm thinking that the first line, you can't have JT Miller off that first line. I know you can, but that's just dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's JT Miller, Pettersson, and Brock, right?
Yeah.
And then then it gets interesting. So this is what I think is going to happen, which I don't agree with. I think our coach Green is going to go Horvat, Pearson, and then he's probably going Höglander or Garland.
Yeah.
Probably Garland.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid. I think that he should be going either Höglander or Podkolzin on the left wing, and then you have Garland on that other side, and then you have Horvat in the middle. You got to get him some good wingers for once in his life. And so I'm super passionate about that. But the third line that's where Pearson's probably going to play the left, and then that's why I would have Höglander as the right winger with Dickinson. How do you guys feel about that? Does that sound like crazy to you, or?
Yeah, like my thing with the Canucks lines, I guess, is like it's similar to yours. I just don't like how married like Pearson and Horvat have been basically the entire time Pearson's been a Canuck. And yes, part of that is because the Canucks had no other options, but now there are some legit options. And I guess the feeling is that Garland and Horvat are kind of similar players. And I don't know how true that is. I mean, Garland is more established at this point. He probably is more consistent in terms of scoring. So I do see why you'd give the nod to him. But I mean, there's a part of me that wouldn't mind just seeing them both on the line with Horvat, like having Höglander, Horvat, and Garland, and just letting them go, and then having Podkolzin, Dickinson, and Pearson, because I feel like that would be a pretty strong defensive like group. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, darn it, Laura, you stole everything I was going to say.
Okay.
Because I'm Lotto line all the way. All day long. And then I was gonna say, if I'm not being Travis Green and I'm totally me, I would be like, give Bo the wingers, give him Höglander and give him Garland on the other side, and let's see what this Podkolzin, Pearson, Dickinson line looks like. Because on paper it sounds intriguing as a third line, but
Podkolzin is big. Like he's a big.
And so, but my gut tells me though he'll probably start Horvat, Pearson, and Höglander as the second line. It's just my gut feeling.
Yeah. But then if he does that, then that means Garland, Podkolzin, and Dickinson. That's a pretty great third line.
Yeah.
Like what if he moves JT Miller to the center position, and he just rolls those three lines and no one gets more extra ice time, like. So then you can throw at Podkolzin or whoever on that first line, and Petey and Brock should be solid enough. But I don't know, like.
And like in the preseason, right? Miller has been playing a lot of center, and I mean part of that's probably because Pettersson hasn't been here, and like the duo seems to be him and Garland, which is also kind of intriguing because I feel like them together would also be a pretty unique, like they play again kind of a similar style in the sense that they're both very intense and they're hard on the puck. So I like it. And then I don't know who you play on that wing, the other wing, but you do start to have like these pairs of players that all look pretty good. And it is a really fun problem to have. Again, it's like we've never seen this depth since 2010, 2011. Even then.
I don't think even then.
Yeah.
I mean, the hype is real right now, right? Like I like Podkolzin better than Höglander. I don't think it's going to be close. I'm just glad they're both on our team. But I think Podkolzin is the real deal. He would have been drafted really high if he wasn't going to the KHL for 2 years. This kid is super great. And I think he's going to, I don't know if it's going to work out this season, but my projection is that like we're gonna be talking about Podkolzin. People are going to be buying Podkolzin jerseys left, right, and center. This kid is a dream to have. Now he's not a sniper; he's a playmaker from what I've seen.
Yes.
But man, I'm on the hype train. Like I'm all in. I'm like, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I like it. I haven't seen him play yet, but I mean, it's nice to have that option. And if he can fill a depth role similar to like Cody Hodgson when he was decent and young back in the day before he went and toiled away in Buffalo. That would be great because that's the type of young upcoming player that needs to be their future, but can also do what they need right now. And I'm excited to see, what exactly he is as an NHL player when it starts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm pumped, man.
You
I
guys
can't
are-
wait for the season to start. Like I want to smash every team. I want to make sure that we like compete. I was talking about Edmonton and Vegas, and it's like, well, I'd like to see what we do against these guys, and I think we're going to be really good. I'm not just being a Canucks fan that's like biased. I thought we were gonna. I didn't know what when we were kind of all the wheels are falling apart. I'm like, we're terrible. But now I think healthy Demko is unbelievably good. Like,
Yeah.
is there a better goalie in our division than Demko?
No.
Right. So I think goaltending matters in the NHL. I don't know if it's just me thinking that. Right. So I'm pumped. Anyway, so you hear that I'm on the hype train. I'm excited. But I'm looking forward to this getting on. So.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. I've got my Sportsnet package. Can't wait.
Nice.
Can't wait. Got my fantasy stuff done and really excited. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap her up here. But this has been a good hockey talk on the rock with Kempner Sports joining us. And again, thank you, Trevor, for coming along for the ride. And this has been episode 53. We will do it again.
Sweet.
Our best episode.